Welcome to the Stafford Excellence EdTalks, where we celebrate the brilliance and excellence of our Stafford County Public School educators. Today, on Season 2, the very first EdTalk of the year, we have the Stafford County Public Schools Teacher of the Year, Kevin Lynch. Kevin, welcome to the EdTalks.
Dan, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I'm honored to be the first guest of Season 2, so thank you so much.
Well, I'm really honored just to talk with you today. And also, I know, we're recording this a little before it goes out. I know the Stafford community is going to be so hyped and pumped to hear from you and learn all about your greatness. So, yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So with that being said, just to remind everyone, if you watched our first season of the EdTalks, our structure is, our talk is kind of split into three parts. We start with your story, and then your excellence, and finally, we end it with some of your thoughts with a cool little lightning round. So that's the structure. Kevin, are you ready for your Stafford Excellence Ed Talk?
Yeah, let's go. Okay, I'm excited.
Let's do it. So if you'd like to, starting with your story, if you want to just kind of tell us, how you became, about you, how you became a teacher, how you ended up here in Stafford County, we would love to hear.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a little bit more, now that I've been named the Teacher of the Year, kind of how I got into teaching. And it all kind of starts with joining band when I was in elementary school. And I wish I had a better reason for joining band, but really it was just like to be with my friends. And now I see a ton of people signing up in my school, because they want to be with their friends or they want to go on the King's Dominion trip. And that was me. Like, I didn't really care about the trombone. In fact, I was pretty bad at the trombone the first couple of years. But kind of as I stayed in because my friends were in it, I started realizing how awesome my band teacher was. He was somebody who motivated me, inspired me, encouraged me, and that was somebody that I wanted to be like. And ultimately, 8th grade came and I found a love of music because of my band teacher. And he inspired me to want to become a middle school band teacher. Like, it sounds a little cheesy, but it's always been my dream job to be where I am right now, like to be the middle school band director at a middle school. And I'm very proud to be the middle school band director at Shirley Heim.
Oh, that's awesome. There's no greater joy than, doing what you love every day, and kind of fulfilling that dream. And the other thing I would say is, something you said along the lines of a lot of kids sign up for band, maybe even chorus, something music based, or any of the visual and performing arts, because that's kind of an area where they can either bond with their friends, where they can feel successful, and it's super important. So
yeah, so we did a recruiting trip a few years ago, and one of the things I did was I polled all my students, and I was like, why are you in band? Why did you choose band over all the other electives? And, some students, they are in band because it's like a family tradition, like their older brothers or their parents did it. Some people, they just wanted to learn an instrument. And then, some people come because of their friends or because of the trips. And it's like, whatever gets you in the door, I'm so excited. It's my job to make sure that you want to stay and you want to keep going, all the way through 12th grade.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. So what ultimately brought you to Stafford County Public Schools, to Shirley Heim Middle School, taking it full circle here? Yeah,
so I went to Penn State, studied music education there, had some amazing teachers that made me, want to be a really great teacher. And I met some really cool people there. There's this one guy, he works in King George. His name was Tommy Daniels, and he was 2 years older than me. He recommended I apply in Stafford because I really didn't know where I wanted to go afterwards. I was open to anything. I applied to Stafford. I had a virtual interview, had never been here before. And just kind of on a whim, I had a really good feeling about it in my interview. My first job, I was between A.G. Wright and H.H. Poole, kind of as a collaborative or assistant director, where I got to learn from two amazing band teachers. And I just couldn't pass that opportunity up. I mean, Arlene Mandudas at AG Wright, she had been teaching for like 35 years when I got hired. And then Caroline Nesbitt was at HH Pool, and she had, 12 or 13 years of experience at that time. So to get to learn from two like masters, I didn't want to pass that opportunity up.
That's awesome. And shout out to Arlene and Caroline. It sounds like, personally, I work with the mentoring program, and it sounds like those two individuals really, made it happen. And
oh my God. I mean, without them, I don't know what kind of teacher I would be right now. They taught me so much. Like I'm forever indebted to what I learned from those two teachers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure you're doing the same thing for other teachers, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I take the role of being a mentor as seriously as I can. I mean, very seriously. I'm a mentor to a brand new teacher here this year. And, I want to pay forward the things that Arlene and Caroline did for me. And that's kind of my goal, is like, I can never repay them for what they taught me, but I can try to pay it forward. And that's kind of what I take with me as a mentor.
Awesome. So cool. So one of my favorite questions of the EdTalks, it kind of comes back to a positive influence, a positive teacher, etc. Maybe it's a family member, a community member, a neighbor. I know you talked about your middle school band teacher. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What type of impact did he have or other people have in leading you into the profession?
Sure. So kind of going back to my middle school days, like I was not a good middle school trombone player. In fact, I was very not good. And I was the kid who like was looking at his neighbor's trombone slide to make sure that I was in the right spot, and I had no idea what I was doing. And my middle school teacher was the kind of guy that like wouldn't call me out or make me feel bad, but like he would give me positive attention for the things I was doing well. And he knew how to encourage me. And I always felt so encouraged by him. He would call my parents and tell them days when I was having really good days. And like, I wasn't used to getting phone calls home that were good. Like I was used to getting phone calls home that was like, Kevin forgot to do this. Kevin forgot to do this. So, to have that encouragement and that little push, it went a long way for me. And it kind of just built upon itself. And to feel successful at something in middle school, like it was really cool for me. And I took it with me. So yeah, I mean, that experience with Mr. Arnold was his name. Like I'll always remember that. And that's what I try to bring into my classroom, is just like this overarching feeling of encouragement is what I try to bring.
Shout out to Mr. Arnold.
Yeah.
And, something you said in there, with the positive phone calls, sometimes it's the little moments, sometimes as a teacher, the things we don't even remember, kind of the intangibles that have the greatest impact. So good stuff. So moving on to your excellence, it is clear, Kevin, that you are Stafford County Excellence. You are the Stafford County Teacher of the Year. We have a ton of teachers in Stafford County, a ton of schools. So this is an incredible, incredible honor. So if you don't mind, can you share some of your excellence, maybe a best practice and innovation that you have that you'd like to share out with our community?
Yeah. And first off, I mean, just like, I'm so honored to be named the Stafford County Teacher of the Year. And, none of this would happen without an amazing administration. Anna Marie Bellino is our fine arts coordinator. Like, she makes so much happen. The middle school band directors in this county are a family. Like, we meet all the time. We talk together. Like, we all work so much together, and we're all so similar. It's very collaborative. So just little things like that just make the difference in the world. Like, my principal will fight for this band program. Like we need a couple alto saxes, and he's on the phone and he's calling people and making sure that we get them. Like it makes it so easy to be a band teacher here because I feel so supported by everybody. But maybe a best practice is that here's something that like I started over the COVID year, is just like giving my students a little more ownership of the class. And like, for example, this year, I'm allowing students to go on and search for music that they want to play, where in years past, it was like, okay, I'll choose the music, you guys play it. This year it's like, hey, here's the process I go through when I choose music. Like, feel free to go to this website. We're looking for pieces. We want a dark, mysterious piece. We want a smooth piece. We want a fast, exciting piece. See what you can find and email them to me. And literally right when we started this interview, right before, I was listening to a song that a student had sent me that I'm about to buy right now. I have the PO for,
awesome.
For our recruiting trip to the elementary schools. It's called Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo. And like, I wouldn't have known to look for this, but they were like, listen, if we play this song, fifth graders are so much going to want to sign up for band. So I was like, okay, like I'm trusting you guys. But I think it kind of goes past like the choosing music. Like during COVID, I had a student, he was a percussionist and he really wanted to play trumpet. And he came in every morning when we were back in school, like during that hybrid session or every X day or something. And we had like an hour trumpet lesson until he felt comfortable playing trumpet. And, he was in my advanced group last year playing trumpet. And he kind of set this tone of like, you can do whatever you want in this classroom as long as you work for it. So this year, we have a ton of advanced band students, 8th graders, who signed up for beginning band to learn another instrument. And it's just like, it's what you want of it. You can have ownership in this classroom. If you want to learn another instrument, let's do it. Like, whatever you need in your musical journey to feel excited and supported and want to keep going, like, let's do it. So giving the students ownership. I'm a big Penn State guy. I went to Penn State, and we have our first game is tonight. And I kind of view myself in a way as like the football coach or the coach of the band, or like, in a football team, like the coach typically calls the plays. And in the band here, it's like, let's let the kids have some input on what plays they're running. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it here.
Okay, Kevin, that is awesome. Number one, that for the 5th graders, they are going to love that song.
I hope so. We'll see.
And also, that's how you create, I believe, true buy-in engagement. I bet, I think it speaks to what you're doing in the fact that you have so many students, learning a new instrument and joining the beginning band. Like, you've really created this atmosphere of, true learning,
Yeah.
So, your students are so lucky.
No, it's been really cool to see like which students want to sign up for beginning band and what they want to play, and the success they're having is really unique and cool. And I've had to kind of change that learning process a little bit because they're learning at a faster rate than everybody else. But like, I'm so happy to do it because they're so excited and they're loving it. So it's been good.
That is so cool. So one other piece of your excellence that I learned about during the Teacher of the Year process was your podcast. Now, I know this was not planned. We hadn't talked about discussing this, but would you like to share out with everyone, kind of how you are a role model for your students in being a continuous learner with your craft?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've always been drawn to podcasts. Like, I listen to them every morning. Whether it's about sports or teaching or leadership or just like murder mystery, whatever. Like, I've always been drawn to them. And my first year teaching, I started a music education podcast because what I found during my student teaching was like, I could just learn so much from a simple conversation with another teacher. Just we're going to sit down and talk about music education. Like, I always learn something. And this podcast was kind of like a means for me to reach out to people that I would have never gotten to talk to. Like in our school, we have these method books. And I was just like, hey, let me reach out to like one of the names down here and see if they'll talk to me about like the process of writing this method book. And, one of the guys got back to me and we had a 30-minute conversation about how to teach out of this method book, what the writing process was like. And it was just so unique. And this podcast I do, like, I just reach out to anybody who will have a conversation. Like, I've had Stafford County teachers on, and I've had college professors, composers. So it's kind of given me like some confidence to reach out to people that I never would have reached out to, and just, try to always be learning new things. Because like, I don't even, like, I'm really honored and so happy to be named the Stafford County Teacher of the Year, but I feel like I have so much room to grow, and I still don't feel like I'm, where I want to be as a teacher, and I'm going to continue just trying to learn from as many people as I can, and the podcast is just one way I do that.
That's awesome. And that's the reason why you elevate Stafford, because you're constantly striving to be better. So if folks are wondering where they can go listen to this podcast, where can they find it?
No, you can find it anywhere. It's on Apple or Spotify, or I have a website. It's called tenutopodcast.com. And you can find all my episodes up there. I typically post a new episode like during a break. So like over winter break, I'll post one. During spring break, I'll post one. And I'm actually really excited. I'm going up to Penn State this weekend for like an alumni trombone choir concert. And I'm going to interview my trombone professor, who had a really profound impact on who I am as a teacher today, and some of my classmates. So I'm going to be releasing a few more episodes in the next coming weeks, which I'm really excited about.
Okay, that's awesome. We will be waiting for that.
Sounds good.
So moving on to your thoughts. So, we're finishing up the 4th week of school, if you can believe it. So can you talk to us a little bit about the beginning of the year, Kevin? How do you set up the conditions for learning in your classroom to make all these things that you're talking about happen? How do you make this start of the year go?
So I've been really excited about the start of this year. One of the things that I've been super pumped about, and this is going to sound really lame, but it's called mail merge. And like, I have all these Excel documents of like all my students' names and their instruments and their classes. And I've like merged it all into labels, and I put them on folders and books. And I learned that from Arlene at AG Wright. So like, I'm really proud of it. And, I felt really organized this year because of it. Like, I wasn't handwriting everything. It was very easy to do. And I found ways to work like smarter, not harder. And just the beginning of this year, I've kind of felt lighter. Like, I feel like more in control. This is year 4 at Shirley Heim for me. And just every year it feels easier. I made every student a folder with a book and some materials. And I also like wrote like a little inspirational quote in everyone's folder, and like the kids seem to really like that. And then outside of that, like I do try to be really firm and disciplined with all my students, especially my beginners at the beginning of the year. Like I try to show them like exactly the way things should be done in order for us to have a successful class, because like this room gets filled. Like my biggest class this year is a lot of students. We have 2 teachers. I have another band teacher, but it's almost 60 kids in one classroom. And all these kids have these noise making machines that they don't know how to use yet. So like literally I show them how to enter the room. Like, everybody out, let me show you how to enter this room, how to get your instrument from the locker, where you set it up, what you do with your case, where does your backpack go, where does your music go, like where are you looking when you sit down, like should you be looking at that board or should you be looking at that board? We talk about everything. One of these things I learned from this podcast I do, this guy named Jonathan Viella, he told me like he pictured the perfect way students do like a perfect rehearsal, and then he taught his students how to make it happen. And I like pictured like, what's the perfect way to start class? And I try to teach my students that, and surprisingly it worked. Like my first year at Shirley Heim, kids were coming in and they were just blasting, and it was noisy and kids are like pushing each other. And now this year things just seem a lot more refined because I tried to picture the best way for them to come in and taught them how to do it.
Wow.
So just little things like that, setting structure and creating routines. have been really helpful.
Wow, that's solid gold. So new teachers of Stafford County, if you're watching this, Kevin just gave a master class on what you need to do to set up that environment. And, I think because you're committed to that, striving to be better each day, I think our students also see that, and strive for, to kind of emulate that, whenever their teacher, is doing exactly what they're asking, of their students. So good stuff. So we have the final three statements. This is our lightning round. I'm going to read a phrase, and then if you'd like to complete it with whatever comes to mind, okay? Okay, let's go. So the first statement is, the thing I love the most about teaching is...
my students.
Right? That they just make it great.
I'm just gonna, if I could just real quick, I have some amazing students. Like every year I've been here, even Stafford, I've had amazing students every year I've taught, like students who just inspire me and motivate me. It's crazy. And this year we have some really, really special students. It's been a lot of fun this year. Nice.
Okay, so I hope the students of Mr. Lynch are watching this this video and like, okay, shout out. Here's our next statement. Dear first year teacher me.
Be patient. Learn from your mentors. Take as much time as you need. I think my first year teaching, I was in that assistant band director role, that collaborative band director role. And I think part of me was like, I'm ready to go on my own and do my own thing. Like, I'm ready now. And it's like, no, you're not. You need to learn, take time, ask questions about anything, because the more that you learn, the better it's going to be. So just be patient and learn.
That's awesome. That is awesome. And finally, okay, you elevate Stafford, Kevin, by
being the best mentor I can be, trying to focus on new teachers and make sure they're comfortable, make sure that they are having success and feel supported. Because I know, there's a lot of teachers who come into the field and they just feel overwhelmed and burnt out. And, I want to make sure that the teachers here, whether I'm their mentor or not, I'm checking in with as many new teachers as I can, that they feel supported and that they're having a successful school year.
Right on. Kevin, thank you. It is so clear that your excellence is one of the reasons that Stafford County is just an awesome place to live, to work, to teach, to learn. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm so happy that I found Stafford County. I truly love teaching here, and I'm so proud to be the band director at Shirley Heim.
Good stuff. So you heard it here, everyone. Kevin Lynch, our Stafford County Public Schools Teacher of the Year, our first EdTalk of the 22-23 school year. You can check out a new EdTalk once a month over on the Stafford County Public Schools YouTube page. But until then, we'll see you next time.